Welcome to Market Moves ETX. This podcast is hosted by David McAtee, a real estate agent with Realty One Group Rose in Tyler, Texas. Each episode is created for East Texans who want a clearer understanding of the local real estate market. Whether you're buying, selling, investing, or simply staying informed, you'll get straightforward insights, local context, and practical guidance without pressure or hype. Let's get started.
Today I want to talk about something that comes up often in real estate and in everyday conversations with my clients. My goal is simple: to help you understand the market, make informed decisions, and focus on what's true rather than what's popular. One question I hear quite a bit from buyers is this: how do I make my offer stand out when there are multiple people trying to buy the same house? That's a fair question because buying a home can feel competitive, especially when a property is priced right and shows well. When that happens, buyers sometimes assume the answer is simply offering more money. Here's the truth. Price matters, but it is not always the only thing a seller looks at when deciding which offer to accept. A competitive offer is really about reducing uncertainty for the seller. Sellers want confidence that the deal will actually make it to the closing table without unnecessary surprises or delays. One of the first things I tell buyers is to get fully prepared before they start making offers. If you're financing a home, having a strong pre-approval letter in hand shows the seller you're serious and ready to move forward. Preparation creates confidence. Confidence makes an offer more attractive, even before anyone starts comparing numbers. Another thing buyers need to understand is that timing matters. A clean offer that is easy to understand often carries more weight than a complicated offer with a lot of conditions attached to it. That doesn't mean you should give up protections that are important to you. It simply means you should understand which terms help you and which terms may make a seller nervous about moving forward. I also encourage buyers to pay attention to the seller's situation whenever possible. Sometimes the seller needs a quick closing, and sometimes they need extra time to move out and get organized. When you understand what's important to the seller, you can sometimes create value without spending additional money. Real estate is about people, and people often have needs that go beyond the purchase price. One lesson I learned early in my career came from losing a deal that mattered to me. I spent months helping a couple find a home, and we built a great relationship along the way. In the end, they purchased through someone else because I had not secured a buyer representation agreement. It was a painful lesson, but it taught me something important about preparation and communication. The same principle applies when writing an offer. The buyers who take the time to prepare, communicate clearly, and understand the process are usually in a much stronger position than those who rush in without a plan. Another mistake I see is buyers becoming emotional, stretching beyond what makes financial sense. When you fall in love with a house, it's easy to convince yourself that any price is worth paying. I always tell people that a home should fit both your life and your budget. Winning the house doesn't feel like much of a victory if you're uncomfortable with the payment afterward. The market doesn't care what we need. The market responds to value, and that's why it is important to make decisions based on facts rather than emotions. That's also why I don't believe in making promises I can't keep. I don't have a crystal ball, and no agent can guarantee that an offer will win. What I can do is help buyers put themselves in the strongest position possible. That means understanding the market, understanding the property, and presenting an offer that makes sense for both the buyer and the seller. At the end of the day, the most competitive offer is not always the highest one. It's often the offer that gives the seller the greatest confidence that the transaction will close smoothly. Real estate isn't about trying to outsmart everyone else. It's about making thoughtful decisions, staying prepared, and keeping your long-term goals in focus. If there's one thing I want you to remember from today's episode, it's this: a strong offer starts long before the paperwork is written. It starts with preparation, communication, and understanding what really matters to the people involved. When you approach the process that way, you're giving yourself the best chance for success. Thank you for spending a few minutes with me on Market Moves ETX. If you're thinking about buying or selling a home anywhere in Tyler or across East Texas, I'd love to have a conversation with you.
Thanks for listening to Market Moves ETX podcast. For more local real estate insights and written articles, visit marketmovesetx.com. If you'd like to connect directly, you can reach David at 903-437-7126. That's 903-437-7126. Market Moves ETX podcast is hosted by David McAtee with Realty One Group Rose in Tyler, Texas. We'll see you in the next episode.